Okay, good morning. Today we are starting a new month, and the theme of our month is nurturing gratitude, I think is the topic. And it made me think of Annie Lamott. She said that there are three prayers: help, thanks, and wow. And I thought, that's pretty much it. That's my repertoire. So, let's see. Oh, I'm the one who does this. Welcome. If you're not familiar with these are our principles. This is the order of our service today. Oh, there's a picture of Anne Lamott. Gratitude begins in our heart and then dovetails into behavior. It almost always makes you willing to be of service, which is where the joy resides. And I would agree with that. When you see people helping out, they're usually happy. Okay, our chalice light. Time to light the chalice. We have an expert in the building. Thank you. I don't know how old Rumi was when he wrote that, but I think maybe he was just thinking of it as like, oh, I didn't even know I had this beautiful necklace on. Or I'm looking for a diamond necklace, but look, I already have it. You know, when you wish for things, then you realize you already have things. Or you could be my age, and your glasses are on top of your head. When we were talking about gratitude, yesterday I took my grandsons for a late trick-or-treat to the neighbors, and as we were coming up their driveway, the light on the cornfield was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, just remarkably, the way the cornfield continued on and had this color and light. And my neighbor that we were going trick-or-treating at happens to be an artist, and this is one of the paintings she's done. The cornfield I was looking at was not harvested yet, but this is one that she just stood in her yard and painted of it being harvested by the farmer. Okay, time for the Greetapalooza. Okay, say hello to each other. Okay. Let's get started. Don, Lilia's gonna hit the bell for us. Okay. All right, Lily, will you ring the bell? Thank you. Okay, joys and concerns. I guess that was my joy when I was telling you about the light yesterday, so I'll just skip it. Just, you know what to do. Come up, tell us what you're thinking about, and put a rock in the water.
Well, Don and I have been gone for a few weeks, but we followed UU online on the YouTube channel, and the joy is that it's beautiful. Again, Jonathan does such a wonderful job of presenting us online so professionally, so really appreciated that.
Well, to follow up on Maureen's ode to the beauty of this area, Wendy and I took a drive yesterday to go to a meeting in Elmwood. We didn't see any UFOs, but what we did see was a spectacular sky and fields and beautiful light. It was great, yeah.
Just Friday was Halloween. That's going to be both a joy and a concern, mostly concern. But this next 2 weeks is going to be all Shrek musical for the next few hours. So that's going to be tiring.
Well, thank you. Lily, I wish you luck with the Shrek musical. That's at the Prescott Middle School. Good luck with that, and thank you for telling us about it. Thank you, Steve. Okay, this is a song about gratitude. intro speak to us today on gratitude. And so I will leave you in her capable hands.
Hi, friends. I don't do well behind any type of device here, so I'm going to be here if that's okay with you. Maureen, thank you for having me. I want to say a special thank you to Allison Page. She invited me to be a part of your service this morning. And truth be told, when Allison invited me to talk about gratitude, I did a little bit of an eye roll, and bear with me. Part of it was because of the way gratitude is taught. And we're going to talk about gritty gratitude. This is my invitation and a little bit of an alternative to how gratitude is normally taught. Are you ready for that? Okay, great. Wonderful. Let's make sure this works. Okay, so this is how today is going to go for my time with you. So we're going to do thank yous. We, again, want to thank you for being here in this room. Thank you who are watching on YouTube. Thank Allison for making this happen. It's kind of like we're still recovering from COVID. Does anybody feel that way where you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be in person? Like I wore a whole outfit, right? We did the entire outfit for today's service. So thank you for inviting us to be in person. We're going to do a little bit of an arrival. This is something that I do when we are hosting consulting groups and coaching groups. I'll say a little bit more about that in a moment. I'm going to tell you a story about too small. This is actually a phrase that our oldest son Noah coined, and it has become a Metro crew cadence to this point. We are going to talk about updated leadership. We're also going to talk about gritty gratitude. This word both, we're going to be discovering the etymology of the word both. I'm a complete word nerd. Any other word nerds where okay, thank goodness I'm not alone. Thank you. We're going to do a little bit of integration, and then I will leave you with a couple of reflection questions to either answer together, or you can take that with you. Deal? Thumbs up if we have a deal. Thank you. Love thumbs up. Okay, so we're going to arrive. The reason that we do this is I know that you are either at the end of a long week or at the beginning of a long week. Depends on how you're going to look at it. And this is something that we do when we gather in person with people is we take 3 intentional deep breaths together. And the first breath is usually kind of like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be breathing. The second one you feel like, oh, I'm here a little bit more. And by the third one, you actually might feel kind of sleepy, which is okay, that your brain is actually ready to drink in a lot of information. Or you might be kind of annoyed when we hit the third breath. If that's the case, take 5 more. Deal? Okay. So we're going to breathe together. We're going to inhale in through our noses and exhale out through our mouths. We're going to do that 3 times. Are you willing? Okay, let's do that. Inhale in. Inhale in again. Good. Let's do one more. Inhale in. Kind of nice, right? I also do that because I get a little nervous when I talk, and so breathing helps me to kind of calm down a little bit. So thank you for being willing. And for those of you who are in other meetings or you have a lot going on, beginning and ending your meetings with 3 deep breaths together can be a nice way to bookend. Okay? So you may have some light bulbs. You may or you may hear something and you go, oh gosh, I want to remember that. Write it down if you'd like to. I know I'm at this season of midlife where it's like, we call it Teflon brain at my house, where I truly cannot remember stuff. And so write it down or take a screenshot if something resonates with you. Okay? So let's start with a little story. This is our son Noah. This is his first birthday, and you can see the look on his face of confusion about why we lit his food on fire, right? It's like, and also this was baby's first chocolate, so I think he was kind of waiting for the opportunity to eat this, well, smash this mostly. But we taught him sign language when he was really young. It was before he was able to speak. And one form of sign language that I want to encourage us to use is if someone says something or if I'm saying something and you resonate with it, this is the sign for connection. And so if you hear something and you like that, it's just kind of the hang loose, heart to heart. This is the sign for connection. So we taught all of our kids to sign before they could speak. It was usually a lot of like more or eat. That was kind of the thing. But too small became Noah's catchphrase for anything that wasn't quite right for him. So if there wasn't enough food on his tray, if he was feeling annoyed by something, if he wanted to watch a different show on PBS Kids than what was on, he just said too small for everything. And it became this catchphrase in our house for something that doesn't quite feel right. Where it's like, ooh, too small. It's like your body knows something isn't right before you have language for it, right? That's why we wanted them to sign, so they could communicate before they had the words. So too small is the concept I'm offering to you for when something doesn't quite feel right. And I'm going to put this into the context of both leadership and gratitude. Because within gratitude, I think we just need to name that it's very difficult right now culturally. Can we agree to that? It's very difficult politically. It's very difficult in our natural world. Oftentimes we have very difficult things in our micro worlds that nobody else knows about. And then you can apply this of like, ooh, something's not quite right, it's too small. That's how I think gratitude is taught. I think it's actually too small. Because typically the way gratitude is taught is that you should apply it to everything. There is always, always, always something to be grateful for. Have you heard this before? Count your blessings, write a list of 10 things before you go to bed. I don't know about you, but when I am buried under the news, when I am buried in catastrophe after catastrophe, gratitude sounds kind of trite. It sounds a little bit like a Band-Aid to a gaping wound. And I get annoyed by that. It's too small. I've been called kind of an unintentional problem child, where I have this question of like, well, that can't quite be right, right? Too small applies to that can't quite be right. So, too small. Noah is no longer too small. He is a giant child. He just celebrated his 17th birthday last week. This was track season last year when my emotions were much too big. He had PR'd and I could not hold my stuff together. But he is too small no more. So, we're going to talk about this concept of updated leadership. And this is actually what I do professionally, is we talk about updated leadership because I think it's outdated. I think leadership is too small. I think that we have this idea that leaders are out there. Leaders are them. Leaders are over here and you are not one. And inside of when you lead, we believe that every single person on the planet is a leader, period. Can you agree to that? Thumbs up if you can agree. It's okay if you don't. I'm hoping to change your mind before the end of the service. But you are a leader, yeah, right? You are a leader of your own life. And what I'm going to invite you into is inner leadership. This is not about power or control, or as Brene Brown says, power over. This is about power from within. This is about inner leadership. And the same way that I think gratitude is taught to be too small, I think leadership is taught to be too small. And so this is outdated inner leadership. This is what a lot of people are experiencing. You're overscheduled, you're burned out, or you're feeling alone. Maybe you're not feeling all three, but chances are you might be feeling one of them. With the groups that we talk to, this is their definition of leadership. How many times are we talking to people about how busy we are? We have so much going on. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I don't have time. This is something that I hear constantly. I don't have enough time. And this is a fast pace. Can we agree to that? When you are overscheduled and burned out, it's like you're going at a clip that's too fast. It's actually too small. It's too small. So I'm going to offer you an alternative. This is the paradigm that we teach, which is connection, communication, and collaboration. This is what we consider big leadership, which is on a micro level. The first person that you actually get to connect with is you. You are source energy animated. Can we agree to that? You truly are creative stardust animated. That's crazy to me. Anyone else astounded by the fact that you are actually stardust animated? And so your first point of connection gets to be with you because you are this magical. Connection is how we begin. Connection to self. That's inner leadership. Then we get to communicate. Sometimes we're communicating with signs. Sometimes we're communicating with language. Sometimes we're communicating just with being in the same room with each other. Then and only then should we be collaborating. And can we agree that collaboration is the way that we're going to actually make change? My definition of collaboration is that you know who you are, you have your gifts and talents, and there is a need in the world, and that intersection is your purpose. Your gifts and talents, the need in the world, that intersection is your invitation to lead. But that requires that you have a positive, healthy relationship with yourself. Or at the very least, honest. Probably at the very most honest. So this is the alternative that we think of as, this is where leadership begins. This is not too small. So we're going to talk about gritty gratitude. We're going to do some definitions. This is going to be the classroom portion. So you're going to learn etymology of words, and then we're going to put it all together. Deal? Okay, so grit. The reason that I chose the title Gritty Gratitude is because, again, I get kind of annoyed with the way gratitude is taught. It just feels like it's toxic positivity at some point. Sometimes it just feels like it's gaslighting me. You should be grateful. Oh, really? Have you heard the news? The 24-hour rage news cycle that's keeping us scared and disconnected and divided, and you want me to be grateful? It feels trite. It feels disingenuous, honestly. It's kind of that, too small, kind of that annoying feeling. And so for me, I have to have some sort of alternative, and that is grit. And we are taught that grit is like tenacity. You got to have grit. You got to be tenacious. I'm going to offer you an alternative here. So the etymology is Old English for griot. It actually is sand, gravel, or earth. Sand, gravel, or earth. That's what grit is. Doesn't that just make you feel good? Like the dirt. Get that dirt underneath your fingernails. We're cleaning out garden beds right now. We're getting ready to tuck everybody in for the winter. But grit is earth. Grit is literally to be grounded. This becomes our foundation. We are not using gratitude as a balm that's way inaccessible out here. We are using gratitude 2 feet in the earth, dirty toes. I couldn't find a good graphic of dirty toes, and I thought it might be kind of weird. But this was the alternative. So I'm asking you to consider to be grounded. And grounded allows then for the myriad of ways that we are feeling. Grounded allows for grief. It allows for confusion. It allows for us to feel disconnected. All of those things are allowed. Okay? And then gratitude, the etymology of gratitude is actually, if we go all the way to the root, it means beloved. Isn't that lovely? The things that we are grateful for, we actually love. It's beloved. And I intentionally chose this picture of bleeding hearts because when we moved into our home, we've been in River Falls for 10 years now, which is insane. But we've been in our home for 7, and we moved in late summer, early fall. And so the bleeding hearts, I didn't know they existed. And so the next spring, as it was winter, still there's snow on the ground, all these shoots started coming up out of our front door. And every day I would go out, and it was like, you know how bleeding hearts go, where it's like 1 minute they're a shoot, the next minute they're spraying their hearts everywhere. And every morning it was wonderful. Wow, that was my prayer. I love Annie Lamott. I could not have asked for a better connection there. But this wow was my consistent prayer. And every day I witnessed that this love was trying to expand. You ever try to contain bleeding hearts? It's like impossible. And we had bleeding hearts literally growing out of the cracks of our driveway. And I thought, wow, these gritty little buggers are going everywhere. And they are so resilient because they're connected to each other. They have a very, very strong root system, right? They're connected to one another. They're communicating with each other. They're collaborating. And so I want you to remember that grit and gratitude, they actually go together. And I want you to have both. I do a lot of coaching of women who are in this in-between season, this liminal space where you're 45 and you're like, how the heck did I get here? You've got kids who are older, you've got parents who are older, and you're trying to figure out, like, what do I do now? That's a lot of the women that I work with. And we're in a season of both and. And the etymology here, I get really excited about, means the two together. Both means the two together. You don't have to choose. And if you look at this picture here, you can see it's of a kitchen table. Some of my favorite things have happened at a kitchen table. It's where I would talk with my grandma Lucy. She was 92 when she passed. I'm wearing her necklace and ring today just to bring her with me. But she and I would have these wonderful conversations, and everything went. I didn't have to edit myself. I didn't have to decide what I was going to share, what I wasn't going to share. Everything was welcome. My pain, my joys, my fears, my excitement, it was all welcome, both, all. And so when you're thinking about setting your table, especially this season, maybe if you're celebrating Thanksgiving or you're celebrating gathering with people, especially these next 2 months, accept all at the table. It's okay to have grief at the table. It's imperative that we have grief at the table right now. We are grieving systems. We are in a destabilized state right now. Our cultural identity, our natural world, it's all coming to this destabilizing place at the same time. It's okay to have grief at the table. It's actually imperative that you have gratitude at the table, both. It's imperative that we've got some dirt at the table. Not if you're my children, but if you need to be gritty, it's okay. We need to have this groundedness welcome to the table. So when we put this all together, we're going to integrate this. I think we have to acknowledge that we're in a season of destabilization. Can we take a breath around that? It's just true. And the news cycle's scary. Breathe right now. I know. Yep, I know. It's okay to name the truth. It's actually a relief to have the truth at the table. It's actually a relief to name the truth. Unless you're the youngest child of a very Catholic family, and then naming the truth makes you a little ostracized, and that's okay too. Recovering Catholic here. We get to have both grief and gratitude. They are not mutually exclusive. They do not cancel each other out. They are actually a representation of love. And if we are going down to the foundation, if we are going grit in the earth, and we are going to the beloved, we have to allow for gratitude and grief to coexist. We get to have both. You do not have to choose. Does that make sense? You do not have to choose. It is wonderful and awe-inspiring and brutal to have them all exist at the same time. But we get to have them at the same time. We get to make room at the table for nuance. Can we agree that there might be a lack of nuance happening in our world? Partly it's because we're going so fast. We're going so fast. We're overscheduled, we're burned out, and we feel alone at times. The pace is too quick. One of the tools that I teach is, are you the race car or are you the pace car? And in coaching, the race cars are the ones that are going really fast, and they're super celebrated. You ever notice how, like, the one who drives the fastest wins? That's how race cars work. But the ones who actually are setting the tone and keeping people safe are the pace cars. And I'm going to encourage you to be a pace car. I'm going to encourage you to have the revolution be slower, to have the revolution be more grounded, to have it be more full of love, to acknowledge that there's grief. Okay? And we get to join in community for both solace and celebration. We don't have to choose. We do have to make room, however, for celebration. Have you forgotten? I have forgotten. Mike and I talk about this a lot. Like, when did we have fun last? Right? When you're an activist, when you are someone who is trying to make the world a better place, at times you forget that you could have fun. When's the last time you went and did something for no reason? Sometimes we have purpose fatigue. Sometimes we have this compassion fatigue. Anybody relate to that? You look at the news and you could grieve for everybody on the news. It's okay to have fun also. Fun is actually fuel. Music is fuel. Community is fuel so that we can stay in the game. Does that make sense? So a couple of questions that I have for reflection, and I am going to ask you to play in the sandbox with me. I'm going to ask you to answer these out loud. Are you willing? Okay. Hey, thanks, man. Troublemaker. Love it. Where might you be being invited to update your leadership? In your home, your work, or within yourself? And when we're talking about updating, remember, we're talking about connection, communication, collaboration. And the second question to consider is, where in your life might gratitude feel too small? And what gets to sit beside it? I'm going to give you just a minute or so to consider this, and then I would love for someone to play in the sandbox with me. Anybody have an answer they're willing to share? Yes, please. I'm going to give you this mic. Are you okay with that?
I always watch PBS nightly news, or usually, and then I go play Farco with friends, and that's a good balance that I do.
That's the perfect definition of both, PBS and Farco. Can we get a round of applause for PBS and Farco, please? Thank you. That's the perfect combination. I appreciate that. Who else might want to share? You're like, please don't call on me. Yes, please, Jim.
Okay, okay, sure, thank you. Well, just sometimes, well, I used to be a journalist, okay? So I feel like I have to keep up with the news. But there are just some days that I don't want to keep up with the news, and I turn on classic rock. And boy, it makes me feel good. Oh, well, I'm kind of a throwback to the 70s. So there's The Who and the Stones and Led Zeppelin and Joan Jett and AC/DC and oh yeah, the, the, the Chambers Brothers. I mean, some of these bands that younger people have never heard of who were just, God, they were so good. Yeah.
It's finding that equilibrium between staying informed and staying nourished, of having gritty gratitude. And so if you need to have equal parts the news and the stones, I fully support that. And I love the visual. Wonderful. What else might be sitting next to your gratitude or your grief? Or where might you need to update your leadership in your life? Go ahead, Steve.
So going back to a speech done quite a few years ago, The Audacity of Hope. Yes, so in these difficult and challenging times, I choose to work towards transformational leadership. So, because there are changes in a positive direction that need to be made. And if you watch the past historically, right, those that choose violence doesn't go well for them when you try to do transformational leadership and change. So we always got to keep a positive message, hopeful message, but also a peaceful message of love.
And I think with that positive and that peaceful message, it makes sense that we also have to acknowledge the grief that people are bringing and give them the alternative, right? This is the way that we get to stay peaceful, is by acknowledging the truth, by acknowledging that things are difficult. That gives everyone the chance in their nervous system to go, oh, that's right. The truth is welcome, and we're working for peace. Transformation. Yes, Mike, did you have something to say?
So, when I feel overwhelmed, I too, well, I was a political science major, and so I'm always watching and paying attention and kind of dissecting and integrating what's happening in the political sphere. And the last 10 years have been taxing and exhausting. And so about 10 years ago, I started to, as a way to process or to step away from the turmoil, I started looking, like paying attention to like astronomy and cosmology. And one of the things that I found most inspiring was Carl Sagan's pale blue dot narration. If you've not heard it, it's basically the last picture that one of the Voyagers, I can't remember which one now, took on its way out of our solar system. There's a little tiny speck that one of the photo technicians thought was a speck of dust. It was actually the Earth hanging in this little ray of sunlight. And so they coined it, and they actually hijacked the satellite or the ship to turn it around and take that last picture. NASA didn't want them to do it, but they did it anyway. And so now it's this iconic image of the Earth, puts things in such stark perspective. And if you listen to his narration, and he talks about, this is the place where everyone that ever has and everyone that ever will, everyone you've ever known, all of these different, descriptions of humanity. And it just really does put things in perspective, and it doesn't make it less impactful or less terrifying. It does put things into perspective that, like, this, we're just a blip, honestly. And they're still going, they're still communicating, and they're like 25 billion miles away from their source. And it's, I guess, it's a testament of what humanity can do when they work together. And its legacy, its longevity, it's 55 years later, and they're still getting communications from these devices. So,
Thank you. Mike is a complete astronomy nerd, And there are times at, 10, 11 o'clock at night that it's like, I know, this is magical, and I have to sleep. But that pale blue dot, truly, if you have not heard that, it's worth your time. If you've heard it before, go listen to it again. But this idea that we are both macro and micro, we are both. And his voice is very, very soothing. And if you do need someone to read you a bedtime story, we might as well have it be him, right? So we get to be both. We get to be macro and we get to be micro. And it's important, especially at this season, that you are more comfortable with both. Physiologically, being able to be in both grit and gratitude. Okay? Thank you. Oh, Elizabeth.
I just always appreciate, Heidi, your permission for all of these things that sometimes we don't realize we need somebody to say, like, it's just true. Like, it's okay. But I do find myself saying those things. And I really appreciate seeing the model up there and those words, connection, collaboration, and what did I say? Connection, collaboration, and communication. And that really is my awareness today, and I'm really grateful for it, is that is what I've been spending the last 10, 15 years of my life doing, is rewriting this model for myself. And I guess I didn't realize I was at the point where that leadership maybe I am more ready to accept and really embody it. There's little ways, and the thing that I see the most is, everybody here I think knows that Grow to Share was a really big project. When I moved to River Falls, that was what I started, and that was 2009, right? We were still in the Great Recession, and I feel like we're living that future now. All of the things that in 2009, 2010, we were trying to put in place were so that when things start to fall apart and when we can't rely on Amazon to deliver everything the next day, like what really exists in our community, what is our collaboration and connection, and how do we communicate that? And what's exciting for me now is I see high school seniors who were babies at Grow to Share, and they were the children that saw us working. They saw my barefoot, dirty toes, and they are now in FFA. They are the future farmers of America, saying, we don't want to just grow soybeans for China. Actually, they're growing lettuce in their schools and feeding that to their classmates. And that is honestly the dream that when I started Grow to Share, I was like, if this could, that's the best case scenario. And it's teachers like Ryan Pahacek, who again grew up seeing what traditional farming has destroyed about community. And he is working so hard to show these children. And actually, again, because we planted those little seeds, my favorite thing about Grow to Share, well, there's so many, but these kids have relayed these stories to me that they remember coming over as second graders. We were right near Greenwood and Meyer Middle School, so those kids would come over in the spring. Their teachers would make garden talk part of their curriculum, because, right, the garden is a metaphor for so many things, but it's also literally a tremendous teaching tool. And we had what kind of became known as the Greenwood beans. And they were these beautiful calico beans, and the kids would come and help us do all kinds of garden projects. But one thing is they would plant these seeds. And then the next year, when they were in third grade, and it was autumn time, and it was time to do the harvest and time to clean up, they would come back to the garden. And some of them had come during the summer to check on their bean, brought their families to see the work they had done in the garden. And when they would harvest those beans, they knew that they were going to take some back and make stone soup with their class, but they were also going to save some for the next year's second graders, and that this was part of a legacy. And so to see and just to be part of that, to know that there are, again, seniors in high school who, that's what they remember about me, that I was barefoot and silly and digging up potatoes, and it's making them care more about how they eat, what their connection to nature and to communities, and that they value their ability to provide for themselves is just remarkable. So again, thank you for doing this work and bringing this language to all this today.
It's the perfect example of where gifts and talents and a need intersects. What Elizabeth just said, her gift and talent of being silly, her gift and talent of, I've seen her bare feet on the Montessori playground a lot. That's where our kids went to school. It's actually what brought us to town was the Montessori. And when you have that gift and talent, and when you see the need, when you have that level of foresight, you also sound crazy to other people, right? When you have that level of foresight, when you have that level of genius, and then you create legacy when you follow your gifts and talents, you give it structure. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's the definition of legacy leadership. It's the definition of updated leadership, is to serve from that place. Not so you're overscheduled, burned out, and alone, but so that you are connected, that you are communicating with people, and we're collaborating to solve these really big, well, they're opportunities right now. Mike, one more thing. No, I know.
So that's the perfect example of the ripple effect. What Elizabeth just described is that legacy work, and that's something that Heidi and I strive for in the work that we do as well, where your actions, your foresight, your gifts, your talents, your genius create a ripple effect that will impact people that you may never meet. And that, I mean, that's the perfect embodiment of that. So thank you, Elizabeth.
All right, my friends, we'll put the slides back together. There we go. Well, thank you for your willingness to let us come into your space, for the leadership that you express. Oh, did you want to share too? I love it.
Well, I would not characterize any expression of gratitude as being too small, because small or large, that expression is a basic form of prayer, and that always counts. I'm thinking of, for example, when we say grace before a meal, we say the words of expressing gratitude, but then throughout the meal, if you can make a step beyond it and feel actual joy and happiness at consuming the food that's before you, and feeling in your heart gratitude to all the people that grew it and raised it, and a thankfulness towards all the devas and elementals of the spirit world that helped to produce it. That's a step beyond.
That is the perfect definition of that type of gratitude that is foundational, that is grounded, that is about being in communion with love. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to share? Wonderful. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for participating. I wasn't sure if you would or not. I was taking a risk that you wouldn't leave me up here by myself. So thank you again for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Well, you never know when you come to the UU what kind of talk you're going to hear, and it's just about always worth it, isn't it? And today's one of those days when you're glad you made the effort. That was very good. Thank you. Okay, next week will also be worth it. Robin Bowles, who was the general manager of our co-op for several years, an outstanding person, and she's going to be speaking next week. And then I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss the 16th as well. And so it's a both moment for me. I'm going to be visiting my daughter. Happy joy. Going to miss these two great talks. Sad. So I'm both. But you can come if you're not going to be heading out on your own trip. And those are going to be very good talks. And then there's on the 23rd, music, which we don't hear enough of in this building. It's going to be live music, and again, well worth the trip. So hope to see you there. And we don't pass an offering plate here. but we leave it out there, and you can leave your gifts there, but we are gifted also with your presence here today. And I saw watermelon and donuts in the kitchen, so and coffee. So be sure to stop there and have a chat. That's always a nice thing about you. And then we'll do the closing words now. Go out into the world